Welcome to Mexico City. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's Herman. I had to take about 2 months off due to some other things going on, such as moving and also work. But I am finally back, and today I have a video for you guys of my recent trip to Mexico City. This was my first trip to the country, and since recently there are flights from Tampa to Mexico City that are direct, I had to take the chance and book that flight and check out the city for the first time. In this video, I'll be showing you guys some of the attractions that you can see in the city while on a short weekend trip. And remember, this is not an exhaustive list, but this is, I think, is a good coverage of the city that you can do in a short period of time. So let's get started. My first stop is Torre Latinoamericana. And the reason why I chose here is because they have an observation deck that is the closest one to the historic city center of the city, but it also offers you panoramic views of the entire metro area. Considering that Mexico City is the largest metropolitan area in North America with a population well over 20 million, it certainly warrants going up to an observation deck to really see how big the city really is. There, as you can see, the skyline of the city is not too big, in part because of the whole architectural nightmare that the city presents for builders of skyscrapers. It's really pretty at nighttime. I wanted to come at nighttime so you can see all the lights. I always like getting night shot and a daytime shot whenever possible when I come to a city. Here, this is a beautiful view of the Arts Museum and the rest of the city to the north. It really is a beautiful shot of the Plaza de Constitución, or el Zócalo, how a lot of locals call it. And after getting those panoramic views of the city, the tower also has a small museum showing some of the illustrations of what the city used to look like throughout the time, including before the arrival of the Spanish. Which back then the city was called Tenochtitlan and sat on an island on Lake Texcoco. One thing to note is that the city is very rainy, so just be prepared to get a little bit wet. On the way to Chapultepec, you can stop here for it's a monument to the soldiers of the country. And this leads me right into my second stop, which is the castle, or Castillo de Chapultepec. The castle is up top. There's a museum now, but the way up there is very picturesque. If you come here to Mexico City, you're gonna have to walk a lot. That's almost a non-negotiable. You also kind of get almost a skyline view because it is a hill, so kind of overlooks the city. So pretty cool view. El Castillo de Chapultepec finally arrived. You guys see the Ritz-Carlton in the background. This is beautiful. Much prettier than I thought. I thought it was gonna be more of a fortress. This is more of just like a palace. In assuming this, I was both right and wrong, because even though, yes, it has been a fortress in the past, because it used to be a military college that was captured by the US Army during the Mexican-American War. It has also served as a royal residence during the French occupation of the country, as well as a presidential residence and palace throughout time. Now is simply a museum with really good panoramic views of the city, since it sits on a hill overlooking the valley and contains many art collections as well as a history of the country. And what I noticed about the museums here in the city is that not only are they cheap, but they have usually two prices in particular. One is just the entry fee, and the other one is an entry fee with the permission to record video. Since most museums in other cities that I've been to don't allow it at all, the price difference is only about $3. So I would say if that's what you're going to be doing and taking a lot of video, I would suggest maybe just paying that extra price and avoid any issues with the staff if they ever ask, why are you filming so much? And right there you see La Avenida de la Reforma with the angel right there. After the museum, I recommend checking out this next area, which is the Bosque de Chapultepec, which is the wooded area around the hill. The park is not only very pretty, I would say it's the equivalent of Central Park in New York City, but in Mexico City. They're just leaving the Bosque de Chapultepec, basically to go from Castillo de Chapultepec to the Archaeological Museum. You kind of go through the forest, really pretty, a lot of vendors and stuff. So if you like souvenirs, you're gonna love it. Some street food, but nothing like, like, I don't know, more like just, in the bag, chips and stuff like that, with bottled water. And since it is also nearby, I highly recommend checking out the Museum of Anthropology here in the city. And unlike a lot of other museums that are anthropological, they do have a lot of exhibits that are very specific and you won't find in other cities, even if they have topics that they carry over. In part because you did have a large sets of civilizations here in Mexico before the arrival of the Spanish, so it presents for a very rich and diverse cultural history. When going to a new city, I usually recommend people to walk around and feel and get a vibe for the city. Of course, only do this if the city that you're visiting is safe. In Mexico City, I felt safe throughout my trip. I didn't have any issues with anybody, even though I have heard that, if you go to Mexico, it's very dangerous. But yes, that can be true depending on where you go. So just be aware of your surroundings, like always. Be aware of what neighborhoods you're going into. But for the most part, I was very safe throughout my entire trip. I'm over here heading over to market of Coyoacán, and this area is really beautiful. It's very quiet too, so it's not like, because it's far from the city center, so you don't have as much traffic. It feels a little more green too, and just nice vibe. Next to the market, you have an outdoor art gallery. And very near to Mercado de Coyoacán, it's the Frida Kahlo Museum. But one of the other museums, the house of Leon Trotsky, is right here in Coyoacán. It's not as visited as the Frida Kahlo Museum, so that may be an alternative if you maybe don't want to see that one, or maybe it's just so crowded that maybe you just come over here and check it out. The reason why this house is very famous is because Leon Trotsky was a member of Vladimir Lenin's inner circle and was a key figure in establishing the Soviet Union. But when Stalin came to power, Leon Trotsky was exiled and he eventually ended up in Mexico. But in 1940, Stalin sent assassins who were able to assassinate him while in exile. And as such, you do get a large number of Russian and Chinese tourists that visit the Leon Trotsky house while they visit Mexico City. Now this next stop is one that most of you may have seen since it is the most photographed area of the city, or just about, and this is the Zócalo, or the Constitution Plaza, which is the historic city center. Finally, with the huge Mexican flag, they always take it down for nighttime. And the cathedral. Well, you see everything around. They're building a mock temple there. And right in El Zócalo, you have a lot of places to visit in just one small area, one of them being the Mexico City Metro Cathedral. Same with a lot of cathedrals, you're not allowed to take video, but you can take pictures though, just no flash. And understandably. And the cool thing is that it is free to get in. So the only thing you might want to do, you can do donations or things like that, but otherwise it's free of charge. And right next to the cathedral is Templo Mayor. So this is the Templo Mayor. And Templo Mayor, it used to be the main temple of Tenochtitlan before the Spanish arrived, and sits where the cathedral used to sit. It was slightly bigger, maybe in width. The cathedral is a little bit taller, but after the Spanish conquered the Aztec Empire, they had the temple torn down and the cathedral built in its place. Along with Quetzalcoatl, you're going to see a lot of deity statuettes of Huitzilopochtli, which was the god of war. It's really cool. I mean, it's just throughout. I just love the rustic feeling of it. Just like previous videos, I'll be leaving the names and Google Map links to all the sites I visited. This is a constant site of excavation and archaeology, so you're always going to see people working and everything because of it. I managed to get to the Templo Mayor and the cathedral before 10 a.m. So it was, there was barely anybody, but now it's pretty packed. A lot of people, tourists, throughout. It'll get more packed, I think, probably on noon, but definitely if you want to see and avoid some of the crowds, if you get there a little bit earlier, the better. I was going to check out the Palacio Nacional, the National Palace, but apparently, or at least at the time of filming, it's closed until October, so can't go in. Still though, it's just nice to walk around. I decided that I'm going to walk the Avenida de la Reforma, because there's a lot of monuments in between those, so just to get a feel for the city. To see it's dotted with the statues of historical figures. And it was certainly worthwhile going by foot since you can really feel the city. Here is El Ángel de la Independencia, or the Angel of Independence. This is the backside of the angel, and to that way, to my front, is Chapultepec, which I was there earlier, so you can kind of see both from both directions. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And in the comments down below, let me know what areas of the city you liked the most and when you are planning on going. This is a huge city, so there are many things to see, not just the ones that are in this video. And I will also be dropping a second video soon of Teotihuacan, which is outside the city and contains the pyramids, which they warranted their own video. But until next time, bye.